A blessed morning to everyone. I thank God for this splendid day and wonderful opportunity to stand behind this pulpit to testify about the goodness of God in my life. I extend my gratitude to the administrative committee for allowing me to speak this very day. I am Jaeleen Joy Magote, Jaeleen or Jai for short. Just a short background of my name. I got my first name Mac. I got it from the nickname of my mom, Mac. Jaeleen from Jael of the Bible, the one who killed Sarah. And Joy because I brought joy to the family when I was born, daw. I grew up in the lovely city of Tacloban, Leyte, near the airport and the beach. I remember our place to be serene, but from time to time, we'd hear the deafening planes landing and taking off. Those were very happy memories. I lived with my mother, a full-time mom, and a Christian educator. I also have one older brother, a computer engineer, and have 3 older cousins whom I treat as my brothers as well. And my dad, an OFW/pastor in Saudi Arabia, I get to see him sometimes, once in a year, sometimes every other year. But I understand his sacrifice. Coming from a family of believers, I was bombarded with the Word of God. Of course, I go to church every Sunday, Wednesday, and Saturday at times. Together with my brother, we would recite memory verses and aim to be the first honor in Sunday school. My brother and I were really fed well by my parents with the teachings of Christ. So I thought that I knew everything about the Bible. Growing up in a conservative background, I also don't have any vices. I don't smoke, drink, party in bars, and such. Not even curse or skip school. I don't dress myself up in a promiscuous way. I was also very careful with my words. So I thought that I was better than anyone else. I was not worldly. Oh no, God. When I entered high school, we moved to Cubao, Quezon City. In my high school years, I was the Bibo type and strived to do my very best, joining all the contests I could join. Science Quiz Bee, Spelling Bee, Essay Writing, Extemporaneous, Poster Making, Got Talents, Monologue, Acting, and even Beauty Pageant, Binibining Kalikasan. I was so ambitious and planned to succeed in life. I felt like I was the very best. I would always say in my mind, sila nga eh, ako di ko naman ginagawa yun. I was self-righteous. It was only until I entered Phoebias that I realized the gravity of my sin, that there are no small sins nor big sins. All wrongdoings are sins. I entered Phoebias with a boastful heart, telling God, see, I'm still good. I obeyed my parents and entered this institution. Though with a heavy heart, I still pushed through. Yep, I'm very good. But little did I know, God despises what I am doing. In James 4:6, it says, But He gives us more grace. That is why Scripture says, God opposes the proud, but shows favor to the humble. I am a sinful person. I am a hypocrite. Here, I realized that even with all the efforts I have made, I am still a sinner who's bound to hell, and that it is only by His grace that I am saved. Just like what it says in Ephesians 2:8 and 9. For it is by grace you have been saved through faith, and this not from yourselves. It is the gift of God, not by works, so that no one can boast. Nobody knows about this little story I'm going to share, probably because I find it shameful to say. I accepted Christ when I already entered Phoebe's. My mom shared to me the gospel when I was just 6 years old, but it was when I entered Phoebe's when I truly accepted Christ. One time, when I was traveling back to Quezon City, I rode a bus and sat near the window where I can see the bustling streets filled with busy people and wondered, what if I die today? Reflections upon the lectures I had for the week came rushing in, and though I have kept on telling myself that I'm a Christian, I realized that in reality, I was not. I was just pretending. And right there and then, tears trickled down my face and asked God for forgiveness. I realized my hypocrisy and conceit. I also realized that no matter how much I memorize all the characters and stories of the Bible, if I have not surrendered and believed in Christ truly, not just memorize his story as if it was just fiction, if there is no conviction, I have not truly understood the gospel. Here, I also realized the importance of reflections. So every time we hear the word and read the word, may we always meditate on it and reflect. Reflect and reflect. Make time for it. Be intentional. Do not miss the opportunity every devotion time, chapel hour, and even during the reflection time after chapel services. Because when we reflect, we realize our defects and focus on the one who perfects. Instead of pursuing other courses outside Phoebe's, I opted to stay and took up missions. My eyes were open to the reality of the 1040 window and the need to reach out to the lost, to the unreached people group. My heart was filled with compassion, and now that I became a genuine Christian, I was determined to go and share the gospel, and because Phoebe's offers missions, I dwelt on the resolution to gain training here. And while I am undergoing training, a big part of my Phoebe's life was the experience of leadership roles. But the first two were the hardest for me. First, I became a glimpse writer and then an article writer for Vision. But none of these were ever printed for some reasons. I took the blame to myself, feeling that I was such a curse. Why? Let me give you the context. It was in my 4th year in high school when I became the editor-in-chief of our school publication. The school paper was award-winning. When I was just a pictures and literary editor, it even garnered 11 trophies. We won the nationals in Butuan City, Mindanao, and for me, it was something to be proud of. But the Lord allowed me to experience pain by losing the next year. Not even a single award in the district level. There were even times that I overhear people talking behind my back. How I am not good enough. How I am not good enough, fit for the position, but I was in denial that it was my doing. That I really fell short, that I really am incapable without Him. I blamed God for it, and somehow, because I can't give meaning to the pain, I waited for a sorry from people whom I thought should be the one to say it. have done my very best and so proud of myself, so lost in thinking how good I am that I forgot to acknowledge him. Turns out, I was Turns out I was the one who had to say the word sorry. But his loving grace embraced me, and it was even his work, not mine, to humble before him and ask him mercy that I do not deserve. I raised my flag and accepted defeat. So having surrendered and gone through that, I thought that I would be okay, that everything would just fall into its perfect place because I have done my part. But since a similar case happened again, in Phoebus, twice, I felt that it's now a curse. But the Lord rebuked me. The Lord rebuked my wrong thoughts. What do I consider as success? Success is not having good results from your original plan. Good results are okay, but the Lord is more interested in the process. The better question is, what have I learned while encountering this? The Lord allowed me to experience this for me to be reminded to trust Him, to build my full reliability on Him. And that is the good. Romans 8:28 says, and we know that for those who love God, all things work together for good, for those who are called according to His purpose. You may have encountered lots of failures too. But does that define you? No. And who counts this as failure? We might see bits and pieces of our lives and easily categorize them between the two. But God sees the whole picture and He knows what's best for us. If you think you're a failure, stop. You are not a failure. That is just a part of God's molding for you. Trust God and let God mold you. Success is not the end product, it's the process. When your character and dependence to God is all the more developed by Him. That is when I truly embraced every opportunity for me to grow more, to venture on ministries without trusting just myself, but to give my all, to not think if I would be a failure in those areas, but rather take these opportunities to depend on God's dealings. I was once unsure if I'm really called to be studying missions. People come to me and say, it does not suit me. Yes, I am weak, definitely. However, it is through the Lord's forgiveness that the burden to share God's story of salvation, even to the unlovable, is given to me. And I thank God for the training I got from Phoebus, and most importantly, the exposure through missionary trips that all the more molded the heart for the lost in me. Both local and international, I came to understand why they are in need of the gospel. It was a good thing we learned it from books, but it definitely is different when experienced. And every time I join mission trips, I always have the purpose to help, but I always end up on the receiving end. All the things that I've learned, I will never forget. The first time I was exposed to an unreached people group, I really got sad. The place was really okay. People look fine, but seeing them as lost souls, I can't help but be saddened by the reality and seeing how a single missionary woman and a missionary family were dedicated to reach them. I also can't help but be guilty. I easily complain about difficulties in school and in ministry, but these people, in expense of their comfort in life, being with co-Filipinos and loved ones, It may be so hard, but it is all the more amazing, for God gives them the comfort and God gave them the heart. 2 Corinthians 12:9-10 says, "But he said to me, my grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness. Therefore I will boast all more gladly of my weaknesses, so that the power of Christ may rest upon me. For the sake of Christ, then, I am content with weaknesses, insults, hardships, persecutions, and calamities. For when I am weak, then I am strong." Everyone has his or her own weaknesses, but just like what the verse is saying, I will boast all the more gladly of my weaknesses. May we also accept defeat, raise our white flag, and let God take control of our lives. From my past planned life to this life I'm living now, there is a big difference. The biggest difference is that now I trust not on my own self, though sometimes I falter, but I trust God who gives grace. And it is my prayer for you all who will continue on your training in this institution to just trust in God. Follow Him in spite of all the hardships you may face. May we follow Him and obey His commands with all our heart. Thank you for listening, and God bless.